If any of you filmmakers out there remember the website Indy Mogul, it disappeared a few years ago, but it's back. And today we are talking to Justin Johnson, one of the founders of Indy Mogul. Now, let's roll tape.
This episode brought to you by Spoof Dance Film Festival. Make parody commercials and bring the funny.
Justin, thanks for joining me.
Hey, great to be here.
All right, let's talk a little bit about what Indy Mogul is and what happened with it. And then you have a film that you worked on. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so Indy Mogul is a filmmaking network that my partner Erik Beck and I started back in 2007. And originally it was part of a startup called Next New Networks, which was a very early, one of the very first professional online video startups. And the goal was to launch like 100 different networks on YouTube or the internet, video networks. And one of those networks, I wanted to make a filmmaking network, so I pitched it to my bosses, and they liked the idea, and that became Indy Mogul. And then I asked my buddy Erik to do a show, and that became Backyard Effects, which went on to win Webbies and stuff like that. So that's been, 9 years now since that launched. And after 9 years, control in the last couple of months ownership has gone to us, so that's pretty cool.
Do you have all the old episodes stored away in a vault?
It's tragically not. At some point, there was a server that had everything in like super high quality, but when our startup was acquired by YouTube in 2011, I think that all kind of just disappeared. I would love to know where that is, but I don't know where it is.
That's a bummer. Maybe you got to do an episode on backing up your stuff.
Right, yeah, seriously.
Because that was really great. I remember watching the Backyard Effects and all of that. Really great stuff. And it's great to have you guys back on the web producing these. Are you going to be producing like same style website like you used to do for filmmakers?
Yeah, so we're launching with 2 shows that are sort of like Backyard Effects but pulled apart. The idea for the first show is called 5-Word Films, and we take 5-word film title suggestions from the internets and turn them into short films that are awesome. So there's so many great ideas and people with ideas out in the web. We just want to collect those and then turn the most absurd, fun ones into actual things. And then the second show is called Erik Builds the Movies, and that's really more like Backyard Effects was, where Erik will be building a prop or showing how we did an effect from the movie. So it's almost kind of flipped. Backyard Effects was people requesting props, and the new style is more people requesting films, and then we build a prop or an effect based off that film, because you kind of run out of prop suggestions. There's only so many ways you can build a fake sword or a fake shotgun. But there's so many creative ideas out there and films that can be made. So that's the new thinking.
Can you give us an example of one of the 5-word films?
Yes, so we're actually on Friday, our very first video that's going up for 5-word films is called New Fashion Trend Exploding Underwear. So someone just submitted that and we're like, that's a great video. So it actually was part of a TV pilot, a 5-word films TV pilot that Erik and I did 2 years ago. That was greenlit, and then classic Hollywood story, greenlit, everything's great, and then the head of the network got fired, and he was our guy, and then it just was dead. And so it's really cool to bring that back to life here on YouTube.
What's the website address?
So people can find us at IndyMogul.com. It's just a splash page right now, but that will lead you to our YouTube page where our over 1,200 videos reside.
All right. Let's talk about your film that you've made.
Yeah, so over the last, I kind of handle the documentary side of things, and Erik's more of the narrative kind of builder side of things. And so back in 2009, through Indy Mogul, I discovered this really inspiring DIY filmmaker in the middle of nowhere in Wichita, Kansas, who was making these crazy like hour-long action blockbuster films. And this guy is a 52-year-old African-American. He's like chubby and bald and missing teeth. And he casts himself and plays every character in these like epic films. And I discovered him in 2009, and we just kept in touch. And then once I left, I was working at YouTube. Once I left that job, I flew out to visit him and kind of see what he did, and discovered this really incredible story of a inspiring creative guy who's been making movies for over 35 years, ever since he was a teenager. And in his neighborhood, and that was really strange. That was a strange thing for a guy to be making movies. So really, he is so encapsulating of that Indy Mogul DIY spirit. And that feature film took me about 3 years to complete, and it's on iTunes and Amazon and all over the place now.
What's it called?
It's called Double Digits, the story of a neighborhood movie star. And double digits, and this is so mind-blowing, is the answer to my question to RG, the subject of the film. How many views on YouTube for these films that take 6 months to 9 months to make? How many views for you to consider it a success? And he said more than 9 views, and he considers it a hit. And I'm like, that's insane. If I worked for 6 months on something and got 10 views, I'd be like, I'm a complete failure. And so it was just a real readjustment of realizing that, yes, you know, the film business is a business, but he does it from such a point of passion that you should really just love the process of making it. And that was, he's just a really incredible, inspiring person that the world needs to know about.
Did you take one of his stories and turn it into a feature, or did you write it? Like, how did the process go?
Well, it's a documentary. So I showed up on my 30th birthday, and I was there filming him for several weeks in Wichita, and really just uncovering through interviews and things like that his life story and his process. And he's been through a lot. He was addicted to crack. He was an alcoholic. He went to jail for a couple of years. His mother died in childbirth with him, and he never knew his father, so he was immediately an orphan. And through it all, he just has the most positive, incredible spirit. So it was all real, true life stuff, and I just kind of showed up, and I feel lucky to have been the sponge to absorb his incredible tale.
And where do you find the movie?
You can go to doubledigitsdoc.com, DOC, and you can find links to watch the trailer. I guarantee you'll be inspired, and hopefully you'll rent the film because I got credit cards.
Good. Do you see yourself working with him on films, or was this a one-off, just shooting the documentary with him?
He's a great friend of mine, and I really admire him. And I was actually in Wichita a couple weeks ago, and he put me in, it was like a dream come true. He put me in like full zombie or mummy makeup, full mummy makeup. And so I'm going to make a cameo in his next internet art film, is what he calls them. I'm going to make a cameo as unrecognizable mummy. So it was so great working with him, because he's just got the spirit of like a 10-year-old, you know, like he's just giddy and he just loves film. And so I definitely, the more times I can collaborate with him, the better.
Oh, that's awesome. How much of information did he learn from you guys from your Indy Mogul site to actually do his movies?
I think of a fair amount. His films are very scrappy and they're very rough around the edges. And what's incredible is if you would read a script, it's got like car chases and helicopters and explosions. If you would read the script, you'd be like, this is $100 million movie. And yet he does it for like $50 with spray paint and cardboard. And so it's all very scrappy, which I think is very Indy Mogul. But he is an older guy, and when I first met him, I was trying to teach him After Effects and all this. And I was like, you need a new camera, you need better audio. But really, I learned to realize that his films are more like modern art. It's like Jackson Pollock. If you told him to stop splattering paint everywhere, just be like, you should just brush it more evenly. It really is like art is what he's making. So I need to just step away from just like the technical side of things and just let him do his art as he wants to.
Yes, and that's his comfort zone, the camera he uses, the way he shoots, and that's how he knows. And I totally get that. Some people just, the new technology can become so intimidating that they lose the passion. So that's a great story, man. I'm going to check that one out for sure. And we'll have the link posted for the viewers to check this out. What do you see? We got another minute or so, but what do you see for the future of Indy Mogul?
Well, for Erik and I really hope it becomes a sustainable business. We have been doing freelance work since we left working at YouTube for the last 4 or 5 years. And I really think, especially for Erik, he's just such a special guy who really he's so beloved by the indie filmmaking community, and is someone who really wants like a regular thing to work on. And I feel like in the freelance world, so often you're like a shark. If you're not swimming, you're dying. And it's always like you get this big meal and then you swim around trying to for months trying to beg for money to get your next meal. So I really hope it becomes a successful, sustainable thing that we can just keep doing for perpetuity, because as I think audience is so important, and so I really want to build an audience and a community around the channel and do it full time.
And I don't think you'll have a problem because you had a big audience. You're just not backed up with the big money like you were, but you know, money's everything, of course. There's a couple videos that I watched. Can you tell people where to see those?
Yeah, so if you go to youtube.com/IndyMogul, INDY Mogul, you'll find our relaunch videos, and I'm sure when this goes up, there'll be some more stuff too. So, and we also have a Patreon page, which is a big part of our plan of sustainability. Patreon.com/IndyMogul. Donate $1 or $3, and it's hugely helpful.
All right, Justin. Best of luck with Indy Mogul, and thank you for joining me on Rolling Tape.
Thank you.